We don't need to break up over this.
Not necessarily break up, but just slow down on the intimate stuff, you know? No more sex.
No sex. you, you, you're not serious, are you?
I'm very serious. Either get with it or you can leave.
Well, hold on. What about
Well, Sistas fans, we got the sneak peek rather early, right at 7 o'clock tonight. And it's interesting to an extent, but good Lord. First of all, Maurice, let's talk about him first. Now, I've said this a number of times, and I feel like it's a recurring topic whenever I do a video like this. I know I say this at least 3 to 4 times a week across, my various videos, but the passage of time is just so inconsistent. I feel like to some extent it is indeed quicker than the previous 6 seasons, but of course we had the 3-month time skip, and these episodes cover multiple days in 42 minutes, and in some cases, it might show us 2 days, but really multiple days have passed, if not a week or so. And we know Grayson and Maurice, met during, was it season 7A? But I can't imagine that enough time has gone by that Maurice would be letting Grayson move in. That explains, I guess, several things, like why he just so happened to be in the apartment when Maurice showed up last week. And it wasn't that he was shocked Grayson was there, but shocked that he was baking the oxtail instead of putting in the pressure cooker. And then the whole closet thing with him rearranging it without permission. So Maurice, I know things are fast tracked, but I think things are just being way too fast tracked in his quote unquote relationship. You just met Grayson from your fixation page. And because of him not wanting to share you or be with someone who is as accessible to the public in the way that Maurice is, he gave up the job in order to get his old job at the bank back, which in reality was only possible if Sabrina got her old position back as manager, which she did. So now Maurice is working at his old job and he's making less money. And when you look at this clip, he hasn't changed his ways at all. Now, as ridiculous as it was, I couldn't help but laugh during the moment where we have more Sabrina and Rich having their conversation. And in the background, we see Maurice literally turn away 2 or 3 customers rather than doing his job because he wants to eavesdrop. And it just makes you wonder, is he running the risk of building up customer complaints because corporate knew about the complaints? And they said that's one of the reasons why, hey, regardless as to whether or not he was involved with the robbery, we're not giving him the job back because we had a bunch of complaints about him anyway. And that went over Sabrina's head, obviously. So even if there are more complaints, he could wind up losing his job again. And most likely Sabrina's going to suffer the look, I know I'm digging too deep into this. And I'm just looking at the way Maurice is working, and I'm thinking to myself, no wonder your coworkers got an issue with you, and they could tell that you only got the job back because your friend made it back as the manager. So when you look at Maurice as a character, the moment was funny, the way he was turning away customers, but it's just like one of those things where, come on, just really, Maurice? Now, I almost spent 5 minutes talking about Maurice, which is something I rarely do, but I did feel like this clip really had enough in there to talk about him. Now, on to the next subject, and it has to do with Sabrina and Rich. So Rich comes in with a couple cups of juice, trying to make amends about the way things ended with their conversation in the last episode. Sabrina is rather cold in the fact that it's like, hey, you know what? You knew what this situation was about my procedure. And she even accuses Rich of interrogating her when in reality, look, let me put it this way. Rich gets no sympathy for me because he knew that Sabrina was dead set on having this child and going through the hormonal maternal thing, or the procedure, and yet he continued to have sex with her. That's on him. That's on him. But he did ask the question. Was it a dumb question? Yes. Was the timing off? Pretty much. It's like, well, you and Sabrina knocked boots at least 15 times since she started with the injections and whatnot, and now all of a sudden you got questions about birth control. But yeah, regardless, he just asked a simple question, and I do feel like she's overreacting. And yeah, she could say, look, the hormones have my emotions all over the place. While that is true, based on last week, of course, I still feel like Sabrina would act the way she's acting now, because you look at how she treated Bio when she kicked him to the curb after he put up all that money to get Maurice's butt out of jail. She is a user. I need to do a character analysis on Sabrina at some point. I'm pretty sure I have at one point, but Sabrina is no better than the other girls. And as people have pointed out, yeah, Jeremy, Danny, at the end of season 5, she's like, Sabrina always tries to act like the victim and whatnot. But in reality, she's arguably the most cunning of the group. What she did in this clip, which I believe will be the opening scene of this episode, what she did in this clip to Rich is the same shit that Andy would pull with Robin, after he did the whole thing with telling her off after, he found out about her and the janitor. It's the fact that when backed into a corner and the male that she's having sex with or whatever questions her integrity or calls her out on something, she acts hurt. She acts like she's the victim, and then she has to act like she has the keys, like she's the one controlling it. In this case, Sabrina's like, well, no more sex. And I'm going through this procedure regardless of what you think. And it's just, I feel like Rich was getting just treated badly for no reason. And this is a prime example of, here we go with a man coming up to one of these women and apologizing, only to be met with just a cold shoulder. And it's either my way or the highway. But in this situation, yeah, I agree that these two should have broke up in the first half of the season when they were at the juice bar and they talked about their differing views on children. It's like, oh, well, dang, I really like you, but if that's how we see our futures completely different, one with kids, another not having kids, then maybe it's best we don't, continue what we're doing. But they just kept going on. And then Sabrina was the one that popped up. I'm going to have a baby without you. So Rich, well, it's too late now. I still say he got her knocked up, but it's just, it's ridiculous. Sabrina, way out of pocket for how she just, treated Rich like he is the antagonist here. And you know what? No sex, no intimacy at all. And I don't want to say their entire relationship is based off that, but Rich, if you, what did she say? No sex and whatnot until the procedure is done. Either way, the kid is coming and it's not yours, so just leave, just leave. But it's too late now. Like I said, I still think he got her knocked up, but Sabrina, I don't think I want to be much of a fan of her in this episode. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. That's the sneak peek. And hey, since I talked so much about it now, if this is indeed the first scene of the episode, I won't have to talk about it in my review. I'll be like, hey, go back to my sneak peek video. So with that being said, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.